G'day and welcome folks to another edition of the Advocate Footy Wrap. Sorry, Brad Cole, not available.
No, he's laid low with something, chest infection maybe, but let's hope he's at home on some good drugs and yeah, he'll be back with us next week. But we'll kick off the TSL this week. Big game, Burnie and Clarence here at West Park.
I'll be there, I'm looking forward to it.
Bit of pressure on Clarence.
Oh, massive pressure.
Can they make the finals?
Probably
not.
Coach doesn't want to coach them. Players don't want to play for the team. Look, I don't know that for sure, but they lost to the Tigers on the weekend, who had not won a game in the TSL since arriving almost 12 months ago now. So they're in turmoil down there, the perennial finalists. So when one of the hardest road trips in the book to come up here and play Burnie at their home. So I reckon Burnie will win. Pipes, what are your thoughts?
I think Burnie will win. Big question: will Matthew Drury accept an interview with you at the end of the game? Because you potted them, you said that they were done, cooked. So whether he's been watching, I'm not too sure. But
I don't think so. He might even shake my hand. No, I don't think Matthew Drury watches our show. But no, Burnie to get the chocolates. I reckon the more interesting game involving the coastal sides is Devonport. Mitch Thorpe comes back in after that looked like a serious ankle injury in the first round against Burnie, travelling up to play the reigning premiers on their home deck. And Chris Tarrant, he always seems to come back against the coastal sides. This is only his second game for the year. First one was against Burnie.
He makes a big difference, doesn't he?
Massive, yeah, huge.
You know, he comes in and he kicks his 3 or 4 goals, and sometimes that's the difference. And North Launceston, there's probably no tougher assignment going up there and playing them at the moment, because they're just very quick. They get into the open spaces and use the ball so well. So it's going to be a tough test. But by the same token, if Devonport win, you'd almost have to think that they're really just edging closer to getting that final spot, which they've been searching for in the last couple of years.
No doubt. Both going 3-1. Huge game. Look, I'm leaning North Launceston's way just because it's up there, but let's not discount Magpies. They're a different kind of team under Thorpe's reign this year, and with Thorpe coming back into the side, they'll push the Bombers. I reckon they'll push them.
I'll go North Lonnie just, but it'll be pretty close, I reckon. And as you say, Thorpe's inclusion is huge. So.
Well, we move on to the NWFL. Short and sharp this week, viewers. No Brad, so he's the larrikin of this show, so there's no jokes. Penguin and Burnie. Who we got playing for Penguin this week, Cameron?
Well, Lenny Hayes, obviously the superstar from St Kilda, and he's coming down with Stephen Milne, who came down last year. So, look, you'd expect that this could only go one way, even without those two guys, that Penguin would probably touch Burnie up by a fair bit, let's be honest. But good for the club to get these two guys in. Hopefully a big crowd turns out. 100 points, 150?
200. Yeah, I'm sorry, but Burnie are really struggling, and yeah, I don't think they'll win a game this year, although it's only 4 or 5 rounds in. Yeah, they're really struggling. Yeah,
it's a worry. It's hard to see how they win a game, but I guess good experience to run alongside those guys.
Yeah,
legends of the game. Wynyard and Latrobe should be an interesting one. Both the only 2 undefeated sides going into the game, but you'd think that there's still a little bit of difference between class of these 2 teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Biggest test I think Wynyard have had this year, though, when you consider they played Ulverston, who are now just really starting to bubble along, but they were really undermanned when they played them first week, and they haven't really had a test thereafter. So Latrobe and Wynyard are both undefeated going into this game, but geez, I'm not going to be the one to back against the Cats anytime soon. So Wynyard at home quite comfortably, I would have thought. You
think the Cats would win? Adam Jeffrey had the kicking boots on last week. I think he kicked 11 goals 8 or something like that. But against Burnie, you know, he'll match up against some pretty good defenders this week. So
yeah, I've seen Adam run around a couple of times this year, and he's certainly not the player he was 12, 18 months ago. I'm not going to sit here and try and write him off, but against a sterner defence of the Cats, I wouldn't have thought he'd kick too many goals.
Almost the game of the round in terms of how close it's going to be, I think, is East Devonport and Devonport.
Okay.
Maybe not the game of the round in standard, but in terms of closeness, I think that this could be quite close. Could East Devonport get 3 in a row? When would have thought?
When was the last time the Swans ever even dreamt about winning 3 in a row, let alone doing it? I would have thought it was at least 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, I'd have to go back through the archives, but it'd have to be a fair while.
Dale Perry, coach, he's talking up big game, even after they won last week down in Smithton, was speaking to yourself, and he said he was already pushing along, saying maybe 3 in a row next week. Yeah,
he said to the boys he was really proud of how they played it up there at Smithton, and that Devonport was a realistic chance for them to win another game, and already looking forward. So I guess that's a good thing, isn't it? They will lose Viney this week, I think, though, to an ankle. He rolled an ankle in
loss
in that game, huge loss. So maybe it tips the scales in Devonport's favour, but they're playing for the Mersey Cup, which
I was going to say, the Battle of the River? Is that what it's called?
Trans-Mersey rivalry, or whatever you want to call it, but yeah, it's good that that's back in again, and hopefully a decent crowd out there to watch the game. Cool. Who knows, I can't pick a winner.
I was just saying to you before that I can't get myself out of not tipping against East Devonport. I know they've won two weeks leading into this game, but I'm just going to go Devonport just because I generally pencil that East Devonport game in as a tick. But
well, last few years that's been the one that you think I'll definitely get that one right, but not the case this year.
No, final game, Sunday game, Ulverston and Smithton.
Yeah, look, Smithton are really struggling at the moment. A lot of players have left. You think Guy Kearns, Jared Watling, Scott Bryan, and I'm only just scratching the surface there, so you can't just replace that overnight. You'd think Ulverston would do this one pretty comfortably, and they're improving as well.
I saw them firsthand last week in a game that I would have thought would have been fairly close in the Anzac Day, traditional Anzac Day clash between them and Penguin. They were awesome, absolutely awesome. I was really impressed by the Robins. I think as the year progresses, they've still got, listen to these names that didn't play last week. Justin Rodman, their playing coach, both the Vanderfeen boys, Travis Davies and Vinnie Ponsonby. So they're almost 5 walk-up starters into a team who are just humming along at the moment. I reckon next time they play Wynyard at home, which will be in about a month's time, look out because that'll be on. I think they're going to be a massive chance of the flag this year.
Can they make up that difference from round one? Obviously a completely different side. They got touched up.
Yeah, look, they obviously they didn't have Sculthorpe either in that first round, who was fitted back in. Jacob Wiggers and Nathan Robinson, they've obviously taken a few more games under their belt in the Robins system. They're good. They're going to be awesome.
There really is a big gulf though, isn't there? Those top 2 teams, and then it's the rest, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And I think once this first round's over, it's almost going to be everyone's... Ulverston and Wynyard will be obviously at the top, and then you have the Latrobe, Penguin and Devonport, and then another gulf. So yeah, there's two or three gulfs in the ladder.
Yeah. And viewers, we promised you last week the good call, bad call would be back this week, so we won't let you down. This is what you've all been waiting for. Jordan, you got the new ball.
Okay.
We're actually, it's not one of our calls, it's someone else's call to start off this week. Penguin President.
I'm confused already, but go.
You just bear with me. Penguin President Craig Broomhall suggested that they would be able to fit, or they would attract a crowd of 4,000 to 5,000 people. To the game between Penguin and Burnie, obviously featuring the 2 Saints players we mentioned before. Good call from Craig or bad call? Will they be able to fit them into the ground?
Yeah, that's you took the words right out of my mouth. Bad call. I don't reckon 3,500 people would fit in Pertec Oval. It's the small confines of Pertec Oval. They'd have to cram a few into that grandstand and the can bar. But look, I think it'll be over 2.5, somewhere 3 around that mark. But I think 4 to 5 might be just a little bit too much.
They might have to, I don't know how they're going to fit them in. I was there last year when Milne played against Wynyard, and he was the only guest player on that occasion, and there was probably close to 2,000, and I thought that was pretty chockers. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Cameron, good call, bad call. If Devonport win this week against North Launceston, are they a legitimate premiership chance? Good call, bad call.
Good call. Great call from you, Jordan. The evenness of the competition this year is that, a lot of teams, I think, at this point in the competition are a big chance to win the flag. It's all about who is playing well at the right time of the year, I suppose. So if they beat North Launceston, they'll get a lot of self-belief playing against last year's premiers at Aurora Stadium. I think that's a great call.
Cool, thank you.
Jordan, for you, East Devonport, they're on a roll. They've won 2 in a row. Who would have thought? They may win 3 in a row this week. They will not only make the finals, but they will win a final. Good call, bad call.
Outrageous call. We just spoke about the golfs in the competition, Cameron. So for you to come then back and ask that question is outrageous. So no, I'm really glad that they're starting to win games. It must be an absolute relief around the club, but for them to think that, or for you to think, I'm not sure whose call it is, they're going to make a final and then actually win one. No, that's a bad call. But thanks for asking.
No worries. Well, that's about all we got time for this week.
Sorry if we lost you. I mean, if Brad's back next week, he's got a chest infection. He'll be back next week. So
Brad's the one that gets all the viewers in though. So
that's right.
Ratings might tumble, but we'll be okay. But we'll see you next week.